guys. So welcome once again to our, what is this now, Peter? The fourth edition, fifth edition of the Zoom call?
Fifth.
Time flies, man. That's crazy. It's insane. But yeah, guys. So thanks again for joining us today. Especially here that it's Easter Sunday. So definitely appreciate that. And
Yep.
so with that, I guess we'll jump right into it. Today we have our special guest. I'm just reading, once again, a little bit about his profile here, Mr. Matt Furkan. Sorry if I mispronounced that.
That was good.
Thanks, Matt. I try. So yeah, I mean, super interesting guy. He came here from the U.S. in 2006 from Turkey. Got a bachelor's degree with honors in finance. He's worked in 6 different cities, 3 different countries. Has experience with marketing, hospitality, manufacturing industries. He's a top-level manager, actually, and he also has a side venture with marketing, which he'll get into in a little bit. So that's awesome, man. So good to have you. Right now, you live in Boston, right? You had said?
Yes, I'm in Boston now.
Excellent. Well, that's
We have to say one important thing. He's inside of Howard University.
Harvard.
For me, yeah, Howard. Yeah.
Harvard.
I'm
That's
sorry.
awesome,
Thank you.
man.
Appreciate it. I almost butchered it a little bit more, but yeah, it's there.
No, it's all good. So tell us, so I have, some kind of like some basics that I kind of went over now, but tell us a little bit more about your background.
Well, I think you give the most of the background, but the other thing I could add is I grew up in Istanbul. I grew up in the city, and my parents has been supportive all the time. But the only thing different I had, maybe from the most, but I was away from them since even high school. So that makes it 2003. So I grew up let's say, alone. That makes things a little difficult at a young age and pushes you to be more responsible, let's say. So that's why you see that I lived in different cities, different countries. And, I just kept going to see what I can, put myself in a better position, or, let's say hungry for more. And I have that mentality since always, that some people may see it greedy, but I always ask for myself more, because I know I can do more, I can give more. And one of the reasons Peter mentioned is I'm here because of to get my master's degree. I moved to United States back in 2017. It's been 3 years now, and it was a journey from there. And then it took me some time to adapt back, because I was in Dominican Republic. I lived there about 4 years. So and then I say, you know what, I need to put myself back, because it was a big change culturally. And then here I am, talking with you guys.
So that means you talk a perfect Spanish, yeah? ¿Cómo está tu español?
Casi perfecto, no, pero yeah, almost. But I speak, yeah. I had to.
And I think what is their national drink? Something with rum
Presidente.
and some.
The one that they put
the sticks inside.
Oh, the Mama Juana. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, Mama Juana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Very good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
You get drunk very fast.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. So walk us to your journey, because, I think the reason I thought you're great for here to show other that, we should be grateful if we are here from the beginning, but if we are a newcomer in this country and we still manage to do a great job, I think that's amazing. And I think people should understand, some of the aspects of, starting something new and getting to the top, which for me was amazing to research a little bit about you and find out, how great you grew. And what was your challenges? What were your, I would say, hops and,
Okay.
roadblocks that you pass through, and how you learn to get wherever you are right now. And I think it's important for us to learn from this experience. I think it's important experience.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for asking, because this is actually my first time in my life talking to unknown public. So yeah, I'll go over again, and I'll dig more details, what I went through. So I started off in Boston in 2006 to learn English, and I started with a community college. So when I was doing, they say the private colleges are too expensive at the time, but there is a way you can go to the community college, get your way out, and then transfer to a 4-year on your 3rd year. So I did that, and I was working in multiple jobs. I was driver at Domino's. There was no Uber back in the time. And I was working in tile shops, to clean. I was working at warehouses, side jobs while in college. Then I got accepted to Pace University in New York City. And if anyone knows, they were top 5 finance school at the time. So I decided to do finance because I tried to see what I liked, because I was supposed to be an engineer when I came off from high school. I wasn't sure if I'd do that, and I got, classic. If Aileen is there, she's Turkish, she might know. You get a lot of pressure from your parents. You got to be a businessman. You have to do this, do that. I said, okay, I guess I got to try. So the good thing I did, I took a couple of classes. I tried marketing, finance, accounting. Finance was the one that attracted me the most, so I went for it. I lived about 3 years in New York City, and I can tell experience in New York City, 1 year experience there was worth 3 years I had in Boston, because fast-paced environment, people are maybe like at least 3-4 times more rude. So you have to learn how to, speak up for yourself. And on my last year of college, I got married. I have the daughter. I think it was 22 at the time. So right along with my graduation, it was tough for me. I also was responsible for myself, and I was responsible for my family. So, and it was the time of the recession, right after I graduated, 2006. No, actually 2009, somewhere there. So then I moved to Dominican Republic because my ex-wife was from there, and then then that was my second challenge, living in another country. So I adapted. I went there for vacation because there was no jobs available. My father-in-law was taking care of us. I lived in places, and I was on vacation about 6 months, so it was pretty fun. But at the end of the vacation, when I decided to go back to New York, I got a job offer from one of the neighbors, which was an international investment from Russia. He saw me interesting because I was playing golf all the time, and then I guess he was seeing me every day. And then he said, "Would you be interested? This is a new investment that we're gonna be putting in Dominican Republic." And I took the chance. I said, "I'm already here, so why not?" Instead of struggling back to New York. So that job was probably my biggest takeoff, because I started off there as a guy to take care of the cash account, because it was a water park that carries over 1 million pounds of water. So it was a huge investment, and it was a big experience for me. So I ended up being the chief financial officer at the end of my 3rd year there. And I can tell that when when you're out of your comfort zone, you do certain things that you wouldn't do. But when you're in a tight situation, where I got into my second year, I got divorced, and my ex left with my daughter, so I was alone. I said, you know what, I still have another year or two to continue on my contract. I'll just stay with it. You know, I had no family, no parents, no kids. You're just there alone. The only thing I had was my job. I say, you know what, at least I got my job. And I got sued. I went over, I think I had over 5 legal cases that I got sued from my ex. And being alone and feeling yourself that when you hit the bottom, the only thing I can tell is there's no way but up.
Yep.
So I've worked. I had days, because it was beginning of the operations. I was literally putting myself to work. Maybe I had days work 11 to 12 hours a day at a park, leaving maybe 10, 11 at night. And with that, I learned more than I was supposed to. I was literally getting involved with every single department, from marketing to maintenance department, I would say. So that was, and especially when you're I think a third world country, where you get respected as a foreigner, and when you do put in the hard work, you get an additional respect to it. So I took advantage of that, and I put in more work, and I go up as high as a CFO. And also, that was another investment. The group that received it, they received a suburban franchise from Ramada Hotels. So I worked there as a deputy general manager about a year or so. And unfortunately, at that time, when I was feeling that everything is going great for myself, the investment from Russia stopped coming in. When the devaluation happened, I think that was around 2012. Their currency went 50% degraded against the dollar. So when the investment stopped, I saw that this place was going to be closed in a short matter of time. So, and I moved on. And one of the biggest, complaints I received from my parents was son, you left. It's been almost 10 years and you never come back. You should come back to live in Turkey. You should you should stay in your family, because my father he has a printing house. He's a business owner. So, you have to work, you have to take care of the business family. So I say, you know what, maybe I should go back. I went back to Turkey in 2015. I worked with my father. The money was good, but after 8 months, I packed my stuff and moved back to Dominican Republic. And why is because when when you're surrounded by certain people, and that's the crowd that's not for you, and you don't belong there. And I get that feeling, because I knew I was okay. I'm a person that if you give me work 1,000 times, I'm okay and I'll take it, I'll put it out. But it was more of a personal problem that people were going, and a lot of such a negativity going on, not just in my family, over the country. In Turkey, that was the year that the country went to election twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can imagine the mess that everybody was talking about politics. And the guy was ruling the country now. It wasn't a guy like Trump that you can make fun of. Now if you make fun of him, you go to jail. So I say, you know what, I'm going back. So I moved back to Dominican Republic, because then I got married again. And that took me some some time of adaptation. After some time, I decided to, because I've been dealing with finance, I said, you know what, I've been trading for like since I graduated, you know, let me take this to a professional level. So I went to trading school about like six months or so. So I got all my certification. I started trading full time. I think it was the beginning of 2016. Yeah, I converted like $3,000 to $29,000 in 3 weeks. So it was like big success for me. I was like, okay, you know what, this is fun for me. I'll go for it. But after the 6 months, my gut feeling was telling me that this is not something I want to do for the rest of my life. And I started looking for alternatives again. Then I started working with my father-in-law. He owns the biggest custom-made manufacturing factory for hotels in Dominican Republic. If you guys know Punta Cana, the tourist city.
Yeah.
So we were, you know, our customers are working there. So I worked about 3 years there, and it came to a point again that, okay, this is great, but you know, I need more for myself, because you know this saying, if you guys heard, you know, if you're the smartest room in the person, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So you know, I didn't know that might be the case for myself, but it came to a point that all I did was give for 3 years, but I couldn't get anything back, because there was no other person around me that can add to me, basically.
Value.
Yeah, value. Yeah, I mean, I was okay, but you know, I want to learn. I want to add myself. So then, you know, I got my wife convinced, and around 2017, I said, you know what, let's move to the United States. And I picked Miami because, you know, she's a Latina and she speaks Spanish. She's going to feel comfortable there. So I moved to Miami, had no job, you know, had some savings. It took me about 3 months to find a job, but I felt like just another Latin country. I mean, I had no idea Miami was just another city full of Latin people, to be honest. It was a big surprise for me, more than my wife. So it was a fun experience. I mean, the living was cheap compared to everywhere else that I've been, but the problem was the income levels were also cheap, so like low. So especially if you're in finance, they require Spanish and some Portuguese if you want to work in the city. So I was like, okay, I'm lucky. I have some Spanish. I can practice and get it done. And it comes to a point. This is something interesting I want to tell you guys. One of my interviews, I was in a recruitment office at the HR firm. She told me that, Matt, I'm glad you speak Spanish because we don't accept gringos here. And it was one of the head offices in Miami. I was like, okay, I got convinced that this is, you know,
Just to make a translation for those people that they don't know what means gringo.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, white. Yeah,
White American.
Not Spanish. Yeah, white American, not Spanish speaker.
Yeah. So it was shocking for me. Like, I thought I was in the United States, but these people are like treating this place like it's their own territory. I figured, you know, Peter, you probably know, you know, like the actual United States starts from Fort Lauderdale and up, you know? So, and I found a job for, it was based on full commission, finance, financial services. I had all my licenses, so I say, you know what, I'll go for it. I was doing financial advising and insurance. I've done it for 6 months.
So you have Series 7?
Yeah.
Series 7, okay.
Yeah. And the other for health and also life insurance as well.
Prime America? Prime America?
No, it was AIL, American Income Life.
Well, kind of the same, but it's good.
Yeah, they're pretty close. So, but I think they're expired now. I don't use them. But what interests me over there with the experience, it's a great motivation. You know, they give you all the motivation you want, which is what I needed. But you know, but it's on full commission base, so you know, you have to really sell. If not, you're just there for nothing. I did great first month after my training. I was in the top 10% producer in the office. Everybody got like so surprised. Nobody was expecting that from me because I was selling it to the Spanish market, and it's not even my first language. Even my senior manager was surprised. And then he told me that when I was in the top 10%, I was like, wait a second, this is how much I made. And if I'm in the 10%, there's something wrong here because I, you know, I worked really hard. I was hoping at least I'm somewhere in the middle, but that means the rest of the 90% of these people are made less than what I did. So I started digging through, and I found out that it's a very tough sector. And have you ever guys worked in a place that you hated your guts? I didn't think that was possible until I did this job. I hated it so much that I couldn't take it anymore. So I started looking for other jobs on my 5th month. And of course, since it's sales commission based, your rest of your production goes down with your motivation. And I can tell I eat up most of my savings and those 6 months because I wanted to live a certain life that I wanted to have. I was living in Brickell. I told you guys already. It's actually 500 Brickell Avenue. It's like right in the middle of the city. And, you know, nice lifestyle, you know, going out three days a week. But it came to a point that, okay, I have to stop doing this because it's not helping me. And because I have you know, strong financial background, I can see my personal finances on the next 3 to 6 months or a year. So, and I see myself, okay, Matt, if you continue like this, you won't be able to pay your rent after, you know, in the next 3 to 6 months. So I had days like lack of let's say motivation, or I didn't know what I was doing. I had days with no sales, came back home, sit in my car, cry for an hour, maybe less, and then wait for another 30 minutes. So my wife doesn't see my eyes red. So I can go back home, tell my wife that everything is okay. Because it was also more challenging for her that she wasn't even legal to work. She was there with me just with a tourist visa. So, and I started looking for jobs, you know, kept working, going after it. And then luckily, when I spread the word, one of my friends from college back in Boston, he told me, hey, Matt, there's this new guys coming in, you know, expanding to the, you know, American market. You know, they're looking for a guy that, you know, knows the American market, speaks Turkish, understands both of the culture, and they need somebody, you know, that has experience in operations. I say, okay, you know, they're talking about me. So I say, the next day I did the Skype interview. The next week I went to do the in-person interview, and 2 weeks after, I took the job and I moved to Boston on the 3rd week or so from Miami. So then after all this, then another challenge, another change. This time, the biggest challenge was not just for me, because it was, first of all, I hate cold and Boston is freezing. So, and the second thing was my wife, she's from, you know, Caribbean, and it was also a, you know, big challenge for her. You know, people are cold here. And I think by fact, Boston city is one of the most racist, you know, crowd in US. So it's difficult to blend in just like that. You need to look for specifically, you know, people that you can fit in. So it's been a challenge culturally. So okay, I'm having a hard time adapting, but I gotta work, and also my wife on the side. I have to convince her. That was, I can tell it was a big challenge. But work-wise, the company was in the and I think it was the company that I worked for. They're in business. They're in the manufacturing business over 35 years.
Mhm.
So they're pretty good at what they do. It's aluminum manufacturing. Anything that you see as a profile in your shower, in your windows, doors, or the high-rise buildings, you know, we supply to those guys. So I say I kept working. It's been great journey for me. Very good experience. I started off as operation associate. Now I'm the director of the operations. I think it was just two of us when we started. Now we have a team of 8 working with me now. And this was because like the same attitude that I had. I said, okay, you know what? You know, this is a growing company. I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to make sure that these guys are doing okay, better than anybody else. So
What was your big takens from everything, for all this journey that you had? Like, like what, like in less than 1 minute, what was the big takens? And what was the turning point that you think made you to be to, I would say, a different level, to a different understanding?
yeah. So great question. Is everyone here from 10X from the event, or everybody's familiar with Grant Cardone?
Yeah.
I assume so. So, like, if you guys paid attention, my life has been just going through a little bit of 3 years, 2 years, and going back one after another, just circulating. And I thought I think I would just do the same thing for the rest of my life, because I was never satisfied. But I joined the mentor call on October, and then I went to the event just to see if the event was real. I was very curious, because I was like, how could you fill up a stadium-sized places? Just give some motivational experience. I can tell you guys, I got prepared for it. I say I'm gonna give my all effort to see if this event is real. I prepared myself. I went there. From the first day of the event, my life has changed. I mean, Peter, you've been there, right?
Yep.
So, imagine you wanna get more from life, and you're at the beginning of that stage, and there's like thousands of you guys, like thousands of us. So it was like a great experience. And I tell you, since then, I did not stop improving myself. I'm like, okay, there was a Matt before, just doing the job and asked for significance. But I was always going after something that wasn't good for me. If it wasn't good for me, I was like, okay, I have to step back, because I don't want to give too much. But now, the biggest take I have is, especially from that, it's been, I think, over almost 2 months. I appreciate the things that I have probably ever than before. And that's because, the things that I've learned from the book, from the exercise, always say yes. Never say, don't be a negative person. I'm being honest. I was, and I also was arrogant, because of all these things that I have accomplished in the past. And like I said, if it was that for me before, I would probably say no to you when you were asking me to join you guys. But the other thing I learned is, maybe the biggest mistake I've done is, I was always distant from people. I was always, I can tell, every place I've been, I'm the hardest working person. I am the probably most respected. But if if you ask any of those person that you would you go out for a coffee or lunch with Matt, they would probably say no because of my distant behavior. So that's something that I've changed since February. I'm willing to share, willing to give, and be more friendly. And basically, gratitude was one of my biggest take, I could say.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw
I
somebody putting
think
big ego.
I,
Yeah.
I think if Gardon
Yeah.
was here and watching me from behind, now his heart was coming out so big that it was like almost taking over the screen. But I think you be one of his success stories. Um, I think the most important, like I think, lesson that I hear like from you, it is this challenge that like keep going on
Hmm.
the certain direction that you have before. And I can tell you from my own experience, I'm also like like coming from I would say a different mentality country, that we are like also very negative in the way we see the things. But and it's a challenge. I think the first fight a human being will have as an entrepreneur is fighting the fight with himself, convincing himself that he has to be humble, that he has to be accepting others as better than him, accepting that not everything that is done by you is the best way to be done, in the meaning that if you want something to be good done, you have to do it yourself. That's the wrong mentality. You have always um, um, to delegate all your work to others, because it's going to be always somebody that will do a better job than you do. It's just you have to find that person. And I think it's important, like getting this to this point, that you understand that you have to give gratitude for in your life for others to understand that you change, and you have to show it. And I think that's kind of the point that I feel like you're right now, and like getting that ego drop away.
Yeah.
And it is important. And I think like um I will say like this: if you could go in time and ask yourself a few years ago if you will drop your ego, what will be your answer that you give to yourself? Just as like as a standpoint of what you are knowing now and what you were doing in the past.
I'm glad you asked. It's funny. I was discussing exactly this conversation earlier today with my father, because I had, such great opportunities, great, level of positions in the past, especially the one that I was in Dominican Republic. And I was telling my father, Dad, if I had this mentality back in, when I was living in a fancy place, in, all these people network around me, I don't think I would be here struggling today, because everyone was, when you prove yourself to yourself, and you share that with people, no matter what you do, where you are, people are going to come to you. And people were coming to me, but I was just avoiding them. Maybe I'll say, like somebody call it ego, ignorance, whatever you want to call it, or young age. I think that's something I would do different. I would definitely be involved with people and share my experience, share my time with them, regardless of what it was.
You know, um, just to be on the same page with you.
Mm-hmm.
My first lesson that I received when I came in the United States a few years ago, it was my attitude. They told me that I have two options: either I change it or I'm gonna stick with them. And I was working for Radisson Corporation. I have a bachelor degree in hospitality and um, business. And working with corporations, it gives you that understanding that you are not a special person and you're easy to be replaced. And I think one of the biggest lesson you receive when you work with some big company, I think it is that you have to allow yourself to to go down to the level of every single person there and be equal treated with everybody. Um, I
Yeah.
was coming straight in a high position due to my university, so I came straight as a supervisor, higher. I will not say high,
Hmm.
but in the moment I came there, I realized that there were people there that were under me. They were better than me, way better than me. And even if I had the like knowledge and the diploma and name tags with supervisor, yeah, it was not meaning nothing. I felt I was not able to drop my my ego to a level that they will see me as a friendly person. And the second thing, just to be on again on a page with you, it was that my first assignment that I had, it was to go to tell to one of the housekeepers, because I was in a housekeeping department, that one of the room is in rush. So I went there with my broken English and I say,
Hmm.
hey, one of the this room is in rush. And the only answer I received, you no entiende nada. And it was like a fist thrown in my face. I was like lost. I was like, what the heck I'm doing here? I mean, I came to learn English and then to take my bachelor degree to a certain another level, and I'm hitting myself from languages I have no idea. So I went back to the housekeeper and say, hey, I have no idea what is going on. I went to the room. She doesn't know what I'm saying, and I'm a supervisor. She's supposed to know. And the lady took a piece of paper and she threw on me. It's like, well, if you want to work for this company, learn Spanish. And it was like I would say 10 pieces of paper with the basic words for Spanish. And
Wow.
I went back and I went to every single housekeeper that I was finding, to all the 11 floors of the building. And I said, okay, I don't know Spanish, you don't know English. We're clear here, we need to communicate. So I will come here every day. I want to say whatever I know in English and you don't know. And you're going to teach me every single word in Spanish. So after like, I think like 3 or 4 weeks, I became not Peter, the supervisor, I was the Cotoro. Translation in Spanish was the parrot, because I was repeating every single thing. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. But before, because I went to that ego and I draw my ego and I become humble, people they start to like me, love me. I was always like, no matter what I was asking them, they would listen to me. They were hating. There were a few people from India, and they were proud because they were there for a long time, and they didn't like them because they were giving orders. And I was trying to be working with them as a fun thing, let's have fun. And I was saying words, and I knew that it was wrong, but they were laughing, and it was just that atmosphere of creating, just giving that inner thing. And I think that's a great story that you said also, because it makes me to think deeper that yes, it's important for everybody to understand that we are not the best, no matter what level we are. We always have to be humble, learn more, accept others that they can teach us, and we can learn even from people that they're beginners. There always
Absolutely.
somebody in any group, in any part of this world, even a kid. I'm learning from my 4 years old. I'm learning how to be fearful. He's fearful. It doesn't matter what it is about. He's like the number one guy in the front of the line. And I'm like, I cannot believe it. He's just jumping. And I'm like, you learn. It doesn't matter what they know, you learn from everybody. Just pay attention, open your ears, open your mind, and you will always, always learn from them. And this being said, from from your experience, for everything that it changes in your life, what is your mission, vision, and purpose that you know, MVP? What do you have right now that with all this thing going around you, you start to like getting that, I would say, vibe, that momentum that makes you move every day?
I all this time that I told you guys my story now, since the beginning, I always looked for my, passion, the one that everybody's looking for, do what you love, go after, or even they say, do things that you would do it for free and be happy with it anyway. So I have been looking for that for years, and it doesn't. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. I understand. But as a, I put that as a mission. I say, no matter what, I'm gonna find this passion thing that they call. I'm gonna go after it. So it's frustrating at times. So and that's why you see my experience in different industries, different departments, different sectors, because I have to find out what I really like. It's scary. I tell you, every change that I've made, it is very scary. But the only thing I've done, I didn't think about it, because the second you put thoughts in it, you doubt it and you back off. So that put myself as a mission. Anything that I want to do, try until I find, I'm gonna go after it. And the reason the side venture that I mentioned to you guys, this was something my friend put me into realization about 2 weeks ago. It's like, Matt, you give recommendations to everybody on digital media. Like, I'm just putting a summary of it, like, from graphic design, web design, like all. I also have consulting background. Right now we're working with McKinsey. I don't know if anybody know. They're a big consulting company.
Yep.
Like, we're working with them at school right now. And they say, why don't you, instead of you telling everybody to do this, do that, why don't you do it for yourself and convert it into a business? And everything just dropped down for me, because I have been doing it for free. I can tell you, I've probably done tens of websites, hundreds of logos for my friends and family, or even for random people, just for fun. And I didn't even, I never thought that I can, convert that to a business, because, back in maybe early 2000s, digital wasn't much of a business. So, and I said, you know what, this is something I want to try. And right now, I put that as a mission for myself. I want to make sure I give, at anything I do, I give my best. And this time when I do, I share with people. This is the time that I know that I'm going to do different, and I am doing different. And my vision for myself, one of the things I read from the, Grant Cardone's book, you spend same amount of energy or time if you want to get $50,000 a year, or if you want to get $10 million a year. The energy you spend in the year is the same, even if you work 24 hours a day. So even though I put my goals from February, ridiculous ones, I can share with you guys, like, I have a full page of my personal development goals, object thing goals, and my financial goals. And my financial goal is to make over $1 million a year. I'm sorry, even I can't even say over $1 million a month. How I'm gonna get there, I don't know. But I put that in myself, on my vision, and I, try to see it, believe it, put it in work for myself every day. And I believe it's going to get there. How? I don't think you need to know. Just like you said, your son, he just goes out and jump and be in the first place. That's what I have been doing in the past.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? I think my headphones just went off.
Yeah, you do.
Yep. Yep.
I can't.
It's fine.
Okay, I hear you guys. So, my values, I believe in good ethics. I believe in sharing and caring. So anything that I do, I make sure I do it with respect in a circle of ethics. That's basically it.
It's kind of, interesting just to get to this thing. You told me that your father was in publicity, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So could be that all your passion is coming inside of whatever you start from. Have you ever put yourself that question? Because there's a saying that we are what we are surrounding with the most of the time. So if you are surrounded with success, you're going to be successful. If you're surrounded with loss, you're going to be in a lost situation, to say like that. And then sometimes even the work is the same thing. If you're surrounding yourself with people that they do design, your mind is working as a design, as a marketing, as whatever it is.
Mm.
So your passion can be somewhere like on whatever you saw and maybe you admired to a certain point when you were younger, and maybe your passion should be like somewhere there. Sometimes the passion is not necessarily something that I would say has a target and a label that says work or career. Passion can be in something that means helping others, being in front of others when they need you. And I think it's important that like not to look necessarily in one place for that passion. Passion can be anywhere. Passion can be anything. Passion can be like spending an afternoon with your family. Can be a passion. So it's not necessary to be a target that to be like, because if you look in the wrong place, you will never find it. You're gonna be finding yourself 80 years old with no passions. So I don't know. I'm just trying to out some stuff there towards you to make you think, So don't look so far, look closer. Sometimes the passion it's in the place that you least suspected, and sometimes it's right in front of us all the time, but we never see it because we are too preoccupied to check the how they call it
What's
where,
around you? I mean, I think what you say,
where the sky meets the seas. I forgot the name
horizon.
of it. Or horizon, yeah. We check in the horizon instead of checking our own plate.
Yeah.
So just be more aware of, and I think it's gonna help you a lot. A lot of us, have like those challenges. Like what is actually my passion? What is the things that it makes us move? And sometimes you have to be like more open. I realize that one of the things that I can tell you, and you should try it, change the paradigm from becoming a student to becoming a teacher all the time. That's amazing way to learn, and you have a beautiful feeling of fulfillment. So, and I think Miss Susie knows more about this because she loves also that one to share, to give, to inspire. And I think sometimes that thing makes us to be even more, and it's not necessarily about money. Money is important. Everybody knows that, and everybody will look for those things. But like money is not always the target. It has to be something more than that, maybe. But yes, we need money. And this being said, what do you think, just as an idea, uh, what is um, how to put it like that? What do you think is gonna be if you have this power of like superhero power? Yeah, what will be the power that you would like to have for you to change everything around you, maybe, and to be the person you would like to be? If let's say right now I have a magic thing and I'm gonna give it to you, say this is the power of the humanity. Take it, use it wisely, and change everything in the way you want it. What will be that thing that you could change, and what will be the power that you would like to have to change it?
That would be knowledge. Every single possible existing knowledge, I would like to have it and use it in a, of course, in a place that benefits you first, but then making sure that put everything in its place.
So knowledge will be the power.
Yeah, that's what I think, and I think because you can have courage, but courage needs knowledge. Neither one doesn't work alone itself. So I mean I have the courage now. I think if I get that power, I'll be ready to come off really fast.
What about discipline? Because sometimes knowledge without the discipline, it cannot be put in action.
Yeah, sure. I agree to that.
I think that's the biggest challenge that I personally have it all this time, is like getting to the point of being disciplined. And a lot of people, when they hear about discipline, they hear about army, but it's not that army. It's this army, the mindset, to make that thing to be 100% like accurate, to be able to follow a paper or a schedule without even to look to it, and to be accurate, and get to the point of working hard, so you're gonna free your time to the activities that you want.
True.
And I think that's one of the challenge that it could be that it's gonna be interact with that knowledge. But yeah, um, many people, they believe that being an entrepreneur is challenging to the point that it's overwhelming and too much to handle. What do you what what do you think that people believe that? What do you think that makes, I would say, the label of entrepreneur to be like, oh my gosh, I don't want that one, it's too much work?
I think it's true because it is a lot of work, but what people usually don't get is anything that you want to start, it takes time. So you see, if you decide to do, let's say, start a business that you don't have your own personal expertise or your knowledge, it will probably take you maybe 3-4 times longer than if you had the experience. Like, let's say you're a real estate agent, right? And you work for a company and you put, let's say, 10 years of experience into it. I mean, you can go out and tomorrow open up your own company, no problem. That kind of entrepreneurship for you is easy and you know what to do. And even though it's a lot of work, you see a path where you go through. But I think what people make a mistake when they say, oh, entrepreneurship is not for me, is because they want to start off something that they have no knowledge of. I think that's where they get stuck. And then if they don't see a single success when they start in the next 3 to 6 months, oh, this is not for me. Well, maybe you haven't. I don't believe that, because you haven't put in enough time for it. It's the same thing when you start driving, you start, you see your baby walking. It takes a year for a baby to walk, So my personal, what I would do for myself right now, any industry that I like, anything that I would like, I would probably go get a job at that sector first. If you like, makeup or anything, go find work for a magazine. Or if you like gaming, if you're a gamer, go work for one of those gaming companies. You don't necessarily have to be a gamer. You can work at the administration or accounting office, anything. Learn the business, understand how it works. When you feel comfortable, you start it as a side, after hours, because we live in the United States. Let's be honest. After 5, 6, we have at least 5 to 7 hours of free time, if you want to say. So put in the work, and when you feel comfortable, when you feel like there's enough, then you can move on to your own business. Unless I have at least years of it, like they call it, I think 10,000 hours of experience, I wouldn't just move on. I start a new job as an entrepreneur, they say. Yeah.
I always, every time somebody bring this subject of working hard, it reminds me that it was like a cartoon that shows like somebody digging inside of a mine and was digging for days and hours and months and everything. And to a certain point, they get tired and they just drop everything and leave. And then it shows that it was the next maybe shovel that they, or whatever time that they're gonna dig inside, it was like a big piece of diamond there sitting for them. Sometimes people, they give up before it's the time. It takes a lot of big-headed discipline, I like to say it, for you to follow your path, to know exactly what's your goal. And sometimes you don't know exactly what are the steps. Sometimes I'm not thinking about the steps. I'm thinking what I need to gain, or what is my purpose. Once I know the purpose, then I will figure out the steps, and I will learn it as I go. Because sometimes it is not like I think I said this before. A lot of people ask me for a map in real estate. There's not a map. It doesn't exist. Real estate is not a map. It is a game of try and error. It is a game that, especially in investment, I'm not talking about as a realtor, but it's a game of try and error. It's a game of learning from other people's mistakes, and not giving up, doing and doing again until you're going to become successful. And I think that's applying for any field, but that's the only way you can get on top, if you don't give up. Isn't so, Mr. Jeff?
I had a question for you, Matt, also. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So you, just to kind of go back to the side business, the media agency.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, is that something that you wanted, like, in other words, do you think at some point that's going to become your main focus, or is it something that you want to always maintain kind of like as a side business? For example, like I have certain things that I do, kind of like on the side, like I'll day trade here and there. I'll sell certain things on eBay, and I'm always looking for different projects and things of that nature to kind of look for different streams of income. So with this side business, like, do you see this as always being like a secondary source of income, or like at one point do you think you're just gonna like totally shift towards that and jump from your current position and just kind of like do that full time?
I think it will be as I go. I think I will take that decision. But this media agency that I am launching, I believe in it because, like Peter just said, maybe I had it right next to me, all that knowledge and experience. For all these years, I just was away from it. I think I will keep my job, of course, I'll do it after hours. I'll contract the probably extension, labors, and see where it goes. And let me put it this way. I'm taking my side job serious because this is probably my 15th, 17th side job that I'm doing. This one, I'm taking it serious because I believe in it. I feel good spending extensive hours on it with no doubt. And now I also ask myself, I see myself doing this for the next 10 years, no problem. And when I get yes to those questions, I think I will, if it comes to a point that my income levels are switching up and my workload is switching up, I think I will switch on. And just to be able to spend enough time, I rejected a job from Wayfair. It was I think it was 2 weeks ago. It was a great opportunity for me to grow, but I said, you know what, I'm done moving on, because if I would do, it would be an e-commerce industry. It will be another probably 3 years of different levels of experience. I say I'm gonna stick with what I have. So I'll see how it goes, and I would love to switch in the long run.
That's awesome, man. We have a hell of a story, really, really interesting guy. I'm glad that we definitely had to have you. Now, if somebody wants to reach out to you regarding the media company, whether maybe, I don't know, just different questions or, to kind of see. So is the media company, is it for businesses or for individuals, for everybody across the board?
It's for both. I'm writing them down.
Okay.
So because like I said, I have corporate experience. I'm mostly my great knowledge in how to manage the companies, but I know, especially with this new version that we're getting involved with digital age, I know a lot of people need identities and their personal branding. So I put together and put like a starter package. That kind of work mostly be probably social media marketing, but yeah, it's for both.
Nice, man. And they could find, is that your Instagram handle right there? MR.
Yeah, that's my personal, that's the company. And I can put my number, that work. I'm just gonna put everything.
Okay.
That's awesome, man. And so yeah, so does anybody have any questions for Matt? Anybody from the call here, aside from me and Mr. Peter?
Except for me, yeah. So I'm out. I cannot put question. I have a question, but I'm gonna put it.
Yeah. And lastly, I wanna add you guys. Like I mentioned, I have consulting and operation excellence in the past. So any of you guys, I don't know if you're running businesses or solopreneurs, at any stage of your business, or even a problem that you're having at a job that you're stuck, I'll be happy to listen and give you guidance, because that's what I've been doing over 9 years, and I'll be happy to just give you my input if you guys ever interested.
It's funny because that was actually my question. I was like, if somebody wants to tap into your own field that you're doing right now, would we reach to you and learn from you and receive the guidance that we need for our own things? Because maybe it's not only necessary social media that we can reach to you, especially with your background. Maybe that social media can be / business consulting.
Yep, that's exactly how it's going to be. Like I'm still working on it. My ideal will be, it's not just going to be okay, I'm going to open you all the social media. You can't just throw what everybody throws. That's not something I want to do. I want to make sure, I have been working on, my let's say, quizzes. So I will get to know each person, each business, who they are, what they do, and how they do things, most importantly, and to see how we can fit an identity and we present that identity to people. Because right now I see everybody's doing just, you know, putting a bunch of standard stuff for everybody else, which works, but I think my niche will be personalized consulting on top of the marketing. But other than the job, I'll be happy to give you my input. I have a lot of you know, pre-made, proven you know, work studies. I can share you guys the templates or anything that you guys might need. I'll be happy to.
That's awesome, man. We really appreciate that. You know, definitely appreciate you being in the group. You're definitely an excellent resource to have. So hopefully, you know, people will take advantage of that, because that's, you know, it's not every day that you come across, you know, somebody like yourself, somebody that has the accolades, the accomplishments that you have. I mean, to get to that director status, it's not easy. I'm actually director too. I'm the director of sales and media for my company. It's a very, very small company though. I mean, we started in like 2017. I came on board about a little bit over a year ago. So, you know, it's not easy, you know, and, you know, considering your journey, everything you've been through, and especially, I mean, you know, the whole Harvard thing, I mean, that's pretty amazing. So, you know, I definitely appreciate your effort here with us. So it's 9:12 right now, guys, on Easter. I'm sure you guys, your family, spouses are probably like, hey, what are you doing? When are you coming back? So I'm just going to go ahead, and I have one announcement to make, guys, before you leave. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody in case anybody has any questions here. So, and I see Troy, I'm sorry, wait, actually I see Troy has a question. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute him. All right.
Hi, good evening, Tony. Good evening, Pete. Hi, good evening, Matt. Thanks, man, for sharing so authentically, so transparently. It says a lot about your personality and your heart. It was really good to hear you share. But the question I have for you as a fellow marketer, with so much experience in so many different areas, how do you position your personal brand as it relates to reaching out to clients? Because I mean, there's so many different things that you can do.
Yeah, great question. I asked myself, because people would probably ask me like, how are you going to handle it? The position I will be going right now as a consultant, as a management consultant, and specifically, maybe, you know, it wasn't planned, but right now the class that I'm taking from my university is management consulting, and one of the character of being consultant is, no matter what industry you get yourself into, if you have the right tools to ask, and if you have the right tools to use, you don't really need to understand the business itself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Correct.
you will be able to guide the person or whatever the company needs. So I think I will use my consulting experience, and, you know, I put in an explanation that that's the reason why I have been in different industries and being successful.
Good. All right. I know it's getting late, but I need a permission to ask another question, Tony.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Go.
Okay. All right. As someone who was not born in North America, I'm pretty sure that your educational system was probably similar to mine, where you were educated to learn multiple skills. I'm saying this because, like, for instance, I'm a marketing consultant, but I'm also trained as a graphic designer, being trained as a coach, being trained as a marketing consultant.
Mhm.
What I found is that when I started to market my services in North America, the feedback that I got was like, hey, you're doing too many things. You can't be really getting anyone. Did you have a similar experience?
Mm-hmm.
Was it you have your own agency you're running, or you work for a place?
No, I have my own company. I'm a solopreneur. Yeah.
Okay, I think you answered your question itself. You're a solopreneur. So it's good. I think in the beginning, I don't know where you're at right now, but
I'm
I
in
think,
Barbados. I'm in the Caribbean.
what is it?
I'm based in Barbados in the Caribbean.
Oh man, I would love to be there. It's
Okay. Yeah.
well, I think it's great that you do everything one at a time yourself. It will give you the knowledge to understand the business you're doing as a whole. But if you come to a point that you're overloading yourself, you should start at least using external sources. You can get, I mean, the most best you can get, you know, it's efficient and budget friendly. You can get college interns for simple labor job, simple designs. I mean, and so you can put yourself for sale, so to accomplish more business.
Yeah, yeah. The truth is, I was just asking you whether or not you had that similar experience. I've already passed that hurdle. I've decided that I'll focus on branding because one of the things I do also, I'm also university and college lecturer in design and marketing.
Uh-huh.
So there's, but what I've decided, I don't talk about those things
Okay.
online. I've just focused on providing branding services.
Okay. And so I'm sorry, I didn't really get your question.
And I was asking about whether or not about your own experience as someone who is skilled and talented in so many areas. If you found difficulty when you came to the US in terms of being able to identify the particular area and the skill that you would market.
Um, honestly, I've never thought about it. I usually,
Okay.
you know, I just do it, and I know it will connect me somewhere.
Okay, thanks, man. Really appreciate your presentation.
Sure.
Thank you, Tony.
Awesome, guys. So, all right, guys. So almost 9:20 here. Before you guys hop off, I did want to get my boy here, Mr. Jeff, a quick shout out. He did a webinar, guys. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was a killer webinar. You know, a lot of fantastic information. Especially like the first half. I was like actually like working out. I was on the stationary bike doing my thing and like plugged in at the same time. And I was like, damn, I can't even stop and like listen, you know, take some notes. Really good. Hope you guys caught it. If not, I believe Mr. Jeff is going to upload it if I'm not mistaken. Either way, yeah, man. So Jeff, you're muted if you wanted to go ahead and, you know,
yeah. No, so thank you very much. That was my last time when I was here. And by the way, Matt, it was cool to actually see what you were doing. I should have got here sooner because that's awesome. But last time I was here, I was more in my element when I talk to people. Being on that is definitely not in my element, so it's definitely uncomfortable. But that's what I was coached to do, so I try to do to my best ability. We did have two people did try and buy it. I sent it to Lewis. He's like, dude, what are you doing? $297, $99 I told you first start. So we're going to send an email to anybody who joined for the first time to join that. And I don't know how much we're going to get into it. We might niche it down a little bit. This is the first time we're going to have something in there. But what I'm doing is I'm taking all the notes that I've taken in all my coaching sessions because it's like overflowing. And I'm going to do another webinar with more information. Because there's more information and I'm just going to keep practice to like get it right and refine the offer. We're still going to have an offer at the end. I believe if I don't have anything to offer, then I'm not sharing the information. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not like really trying to be that much about it, but yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for giving me a shout out. But yeah, so anybody who attended will get an email for $99 for the offer that we had. And on top of that, we are going to do another one next Sunday, and we're actually going to pump ads into it, and we're going to have like a little bit more. So it's kind of like a soft opening first time. And I don't know if anybody else, does anybody else have any experience with webinars here? Like, besides this, like the straight on, you just talk, you don't hear anybody?
Matt, I think yes.
Matt
Yes.
does?
Yes.
Yeah,
What do you use for webinars?
I have been since this pandemic exploded. I have been in webinars. I can say maybe 5 webinars a week at least.
Okay.
And like the good thing is it's out there publicly free. I mean, I am in the mentor program. This one they started last week. That's what I have. I have 3 from school, and I have interesting one that I can share with you guys. I was in a webinar with Mark Cuban this week.
Mark Cuban.
Yeah, it was a free complimentary webinar from Salesforce. I guess in the back end, he's an investor, or I don't know, he works with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the, this pandemic, what's going on. And he was receiving actually questions and answering them. It was like an hour, and it was pretty amazing. So I think, I think it was a great experience.
What do you, because like as far as like webinars are concerned, what would you say, Matt, would be your favorite platform? Would it be Webinar Jam? Do you like the Zoom format better, or like what's your preference?
I think Zoom is good, and it's ease of use for everybody, and the one that has the name most of all. I think in a matter of by the end of this year, there's going to be a lot of competitors. It's just going to be a matter of
For sure, it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
We're working on.
Yeah, I think before it was like Adobe Rooms or Adobe Classroom or something was like the most similar format we would use when I used to work for actually Carnival Cruise Line. But yeah, the Zoom format, it's like way more intuitive, user friendly. Yeah. Okay.
And it is good. It's just like for their webinar is different. They have a panel room where you can have like everybody muted and you can just have 3 people. That's what Lewis House is, inner circle. But you can't, I don't think you can automate it. And that's why they do the webinar jam, because you can automate it. So if it didn't go out good, then I could be sitting here, could be playing again, and we can run ads to it. That's the idea of the webinar system, of what I'm learning. So.
Yeah, well, definitely Webinar Jam is the way to go, because Webinar Jam is for marketers, and it was built by marketers. Yeah, so that's my go-to.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure it out. I was doing a trial. I'm going to test them all out and figure where I like. But yeah, thank you so much for anybody who did it. And there'll be another one next. I think it's next week. We're probably going to do on a different part of something to offer some value, with probably the tweak boot camp and maybe some more confirmed guests. So, all right.
What's up, man? Awesome. Yeah, keep us posted. And Matt, thank you so much, man. Thank you. That was fantastic. So Peter, you said you had one thing you wanted to mention.
Yes, I just want to mention that we already have actually our guest for the next 2 Sundays.
Wow.
I want to just tell you, the next Sunday is going to be one of the best trainees from SCORE organization, which is the nationwide for business, the government organization. And he's going to train in social media. And he's pretty amazing what he does, and he has a very interesting way of approaching, and I think everybody will learn some new stuff, or at least he's going to give us some different point of view. And even more amazing, on the 26th, we're going to have the one and only Mr. David Mazer, and he's the inspiration for Jerry Maguire movie. He's a multi-millionaire. He's a successful business person, coach, mentor, and everything you want him. And he's going to be in our beautiful, I'll say, Growth Mastermind group that we're trying to tell to ourselves, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this group to grow together, to help each other, and to be strong. So until then, thank you very much for everybody that came, and happy Easter. Okay. And if not Passover, whatever it is, something, or even it's nothing, Matt, well, at least enjoy for the kids, no? So, and well, let's enjoy it. And
appreciate it.
Absolutely. And any given time, if anybody needs to reach us or Matt or anything, we're here to help serve and do this thing better. And thank you very much.
Also, Elena Cardone's interview is going to be up tonight or tomorrow. So guys, check that on the YouTube channel. I know Tony's usually the first one on them, but you guys can see it. All right. It's good.
Yeah, we'll do so. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Happy Easter.
Thank you again, Tony. Be good.
All right.